Hey guys, it's Jade, and for today's video I'm going to be talking about a new TV show that I watched a few weeks ago that I have not been able to get out of my head. I've been telling everyone about it, so I figured I would do a review on it and let you guys know about it, because also this show does need as many people to watch it as possible so we can get more episodes, so I couldn't think of a more deserving show to talk about. So I figured I would do a review on it and let you guys know how amazing the show is, and I haven't seen the show being promoted a whole lot, so I want to let you guys know about like this new fantastic show that I think you guys should all go watch. So if you don't know what show I'm talking about and you didn't look at the title for some reason, you know, you just clicked on this video, it is The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It is a new TV show. Well, actually it's just a new pilot because it is part of Amazon Prime's pilot season of 2017. So for this pilot season, they released five pilots of 5 different TV shows, and they ask their viewers to vote on which shows they want to become a full series. There's only one episode right now. It's on Amazon Prime, so if you guys have a Prime account, go and watch it. And if you don't have a Prime account, I think you can get like 30 days free or something, and like trust me, it's so worth it to watch this episode because it is just amazing, and it's one episode. It will take you guys like no time at all to watch it, and it needs the support because while I'm pretty sure, you know, it's gonna go to series, like I don't want to risk it not, because I need the show in my life, guys. I absolutely need this show in my life. So first off, let me give you guys a little bit of background on the show, because I'm sure probably most of you guys haven't heard of it unless you keep up with Amy Sherman Palladino. Now I'm sure that name rings a bell to some of you guys because she is the creator of Gilmore Girls, which if you guys didn't know already, it is my favorite show of all time. Like, I love that show so much. I love the revival. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I loved it. I love Gilmore Girls, and I'm watching Amy Sherman's other show right now, Bunheads, which I'm not as crazy about. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about it yet. I'm like halfway through. I've heard the second half is better, but right now I'm like about it. It's cute, but I'm like I don't know. I'm not crazy about it, but I'm not joking when I say this. This is probably the best pilot I've ever seen. And yes, that is some of my Amy Sherman Palladino Gilmore Girls fangirl coming out, but I don't think it's completely that, because all the reviews I've seen have been amazing about it. So before we get into spoilery territory, I want to like tell you guys what the show is about, because I'm sure a lot of you guys probably haven't heard of it, you know, unless you do keep up with Amy Sherman Palladino, and I want you guys to go watch this if you haven't already. So The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is about this woman named Miriam Midge Maisel, played by Rachel Brosnahan, who is best known from like House of Cards, though it took me a while to remember who she was in that show because she just didn't leave a very big impression on me. But oh my god, Rachel Brosnahan is like fantastic in this role. So it's about this woman named Midge Maisel, and she is a Jewish American princess in the late 1950s, Upper West Side wife. You know, she has it all. She's married to this successful businessman who's also Jewish. They had 2 cute kids. You know, she does her hair and makeup. She has the perfect housewife life, and she's not regretful of that. She loves being a housewife. She loves, you know, looking after her husband and doing all she can for him and just living that Upper West Side elitist life. She loves her life. I was instantly hooked into her character. It was crazy how likable she is. She's funny, she's smart, she's witty, she's sharp. It's great. Like, she does definitely have Lorelai elements in her by like how fast she talks and like her pop culture references and just being like very witty and smart. But she's different enough that it doesn't feel like the same person, because she's very like cares about how she looks. A lot more, I'd say, like kind of self-centered than Lorelai is. I don't know. But they're different enough that you're not going to feel like you're watching a Lorelai 2.0, but similar enough that if you love Gilmore Girls and you love Lorelai, you're probably going to love her too, just like I did. I was just like hooked in by how captivating and charming and charismatic she is. And her 2 parents are, you know, wealthy Jewish people. One of them is played by Tony Shalhoub, who's from Monk, one of my mom's favorite shows. I forget the the mom's name, and you know, they're kind of like the typical 1950s upper elitist New Yorkers who, you know, are here paying for their daughter's wedding and, you know, want her to be happy but also need her to be married and kind of stuff like that. So Midge is, you know, this perfect housewife. She's like the best wife really I've ever seen on a TV show, and her husband Joel works in like finance. He's like a VP, but on like the weekends he does stand-up comedy as like a hobby, and she's super supportive of him doing this, and she like takes notes and just trying to like help him get better at it because she's just a great wife who will do anything for him. And you know, her life is going along perfectly, so of course, because this is TV, you know, things when they're going perfectly, they're gonna have to go wrong, or else it would be a boring show. Tragedy kind of befalls her, and her life ends up getting derailed from the direction she always thought it was going in, and she ends up through some very interesting turn of events discovering she actually has quite a knack and is really good as a stand-up comedian herself. So she starts pursuing it, and you know, she's a woman in the 1950s. That's not going to be an easy thing, and that's kind of what the show is about, at least in the pilot, without getting into spoiler territory. Another thing I love about the show is how loyal Amy always is to her actors. There are a few people on this show who have been in Gilmore Girls and Bunheads. Alex Borstein, who was Jarella the Harpist and was the original person cast to play Suki, is a pretty big character in the show. She works as like a bartender at the club, and her name's Susie, and she's like very brash and she's really funny. Her and Midge have great chemistry together when they're talking. Their scenes are really fun. They have really good banter and everything. And also Bailey Buntain, or I guess she's Bailey DeYoung now, from Bunheads, who was one of the stars of that, is on this show as well. She plays Imogen. She's another Upper West Side wife and is very good friends with the Maisels. It's really cool seeing, you know, like people from her other shows back on in different roles. So if you guys love Gilmore Girls, you need to go check out the show right now. It's freaking amazing. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. Just the tone of the show and the way Midge speaks, and like another powerful female character, and references, though references in the 1950s. It's different enough that you don't feel like you're watching Gilmore Girls at all, but it's similar in some ways to kind of give you like that, like you feel like you're watching, I don't know, some more of Gilmore Girls. It's great. So even if you don't like Gilmore Girls, you've never watched it, you guys need to go check out the show. If you just want to be laughing, because trust me, you will be. I'd say this is probably like a dramedy. Like, they're not really trying, they're not like putting them in funny situations. It's more like, because of what happens, like the way Midge looks at life, it ends up, these horrible situations end up being funny situations. So she's just naturally a very funny person, obviously, if she has a knack for stand-up comedian. This is not really a family-friendly show. Like, this is not something you should be watching with your young daughter. You know, I would say if you're under like the age of 14, this might not be the show for you. I think it's up to how mature you are. There is nudity in this show. It's pretty crass comedy. It's definitely a higher age line show. It's definitely not really aimed at teenagers. So yeah, this probably isn't something you should be watching your kids. It's not really a family friendly show, so just be aware of that. But I definitely think you guys should all watch the show, you know, if you're of age. It's just a great show. If you guys haven't watched it, like, please go check it out. Then once you've checked it out, come back and finish watching this video so we can talk about it, because I need to talk to people about this. I've been telling everyone to watch this show. I just want to talk to everyone and make sure everyone watches it, because this needs to be picked up, guys. So please go watch the show. Literally, it's one episode. It'll take you no time at all. And then come back and let's talk. Okay, so spoiler stuff. I actually did take notes for this. I watched the episode again and specifically took notes on everything, because if I didn't, I'd just basically say, yeah, it was funny, it was funny. The opening, her giving me a toast, was just so funny, you know. Her kind of like talking about her life a bit, and Tony Shalhoub, her father, you know, going, because she's like, oh, and you know, the wedding is so expensive, and he's like, we're Jewish, they know what we just went through, they can give us a break, and then he's like, we're very happy, and it was just like really funny. He kept being like, this wedding's so expensive, but we're very happy. So that was really funny. This character, it starts off like, so like, whoa, you see what a character Midge is, that like back in her college days, she was bleaching her hair on her vagina, like, and just running around naked because it was bothering her so much. Like, what a way to start like the first few minutes of a show. Midge is just, you see right away what kind of character she is. Though I will say her kind of comment about like her fat friend in college, I was a little like, But I was like, you know, this was a different time period. So Joel, you're introduced to Joel at the wedding. And the toast, and you see some flashbacks with them, and you're like, oh, this guy, he seems so cute, and like they're so great together. Like, wow, he seems like a great guy, and they seem like a great couple. And then you just wait till later in the episode, and you're like, ma'am, I really hate you. What a dick you are. So Joel, her husband, you know, does stand-up comedy, and so they go on like the weekends, and this is where we're introduced to Alex Borstein, who plays Susie, who is like a bartender. Literally her entrance is going, fuck. And I was just like, wow, Amy, like as soon as you're not on network TV anymore, you're gonna put all it in. So Joel gets up and he does his comedy set, and he's funny. He's not like the funniest thing ever, but he is funny. You know, she's being the dutiful wife, taking notes, like just trying to help his performance get better. And then later she finds out that he stole his material from a well-established comedian. When she's watching it, she thinks this comedian, this big-time comedian, stole Joel's material. And it's kind of like, oh, that's like where you start to get that hint of like, man, maybe this guy isn't what we thought he was. If he, you know, didn't even tell his wife he was like ripping off someone else's material, and he's kind of just like nonchalant about it and kind of brushes her off, and she's like, oh, well, okay then. So then we get my second favorite scene of the whole episode, and that's when Midge and Joel get home from the comedy club and they go to sleep. And then when she realizes Joel is asleep, she gets up, goes to the bathroom, takes off her makeup, puts on a heavy night cream, puts her hair up in curlers and everything, and she purposely wakes up before the alarm goes off, goes, takes off the night cream, puts on makeup, puts on eyelashes, does her hair, takes her hair out of the curls, they look nice, puts on perfume and everything, then goes back to sleep. And when the alarm goes off, she pretends she, you know, had been asleep the whole time, and it's obviously supposed to be like, you know, for Joel, that she doesn't want him to see her not perfect. I also really love this scene because I thought it was a really funny way of playing that, you know, in movies and TV shows there's so many times where like the actors will wake up and they look perfect, like their hair is done, you know, they have light makeup on, but it's like no one looks perfect when they wake up. And so many times that happens on TV shows though, so it was so funny to see like Amy do a kind of subtle dig, I think, at that. And that's just one of the things you see about how much, you know, Midge cares about her appearance and her looks. And the whole joke about her daughter having too big of a forehead, and like her and her mom commenting on the baby's forehead, I was like, man, guys, this is just a baby. But you know, kind of shows how Midge was raised by her mom, because then later you see her like measuring her calves, her thighs, and writing it down because she wants to be like symmetrical, and she's been doing this for years. So I guess that scene kind of just shows that like her mom cares about it just as much as she does. And that's where she got it from. I love the line her mom says where she's like, I just want her to be happy. It's easier to be happy when you're pretty. And that's honestly, I think, pretty damn true, especially for girls. I thought that was a really great line that really hit home because, you know, while they were being superficial, it was coming from a place of care, because she's like, I just want her to be happy, because it's easier to be happy when you're pretty. And that was especially very true back then, you know, when women were really only valued for being a perfect wife, and basically some arm candy on a guy. And her son Ethan, I really want more episodes to know what's going on with Ethan, because I'm like, is he just a mute? Because she's like calling his name, and it made it a funny joke, but he doesn't talk at all. So I'm like, is he mute, or does he just like not like his mom? I don't know what's going on, but it was funny. But jumping back to the scene where Midge finds out that, you know, Joel stole his act, you can start to tell them that Joel isn't the guy you really thought he was. He's acting like very kind of disinterested in anything she's saying. It's kind of more just like very self-involved, and you're like, huh, that sucks. You know, she had a lot of admiration. He's kind of just like brushing her off, like, yeah, and, you know, let me go watch TV or whatever. And it's like, that sucks. And you start to get glimmers like about there. This guy isn't the guy we and Midge thought he was. So when he goes back to the club and they go out to watch Joel perform, and he gets super frazzled because his I was like, really? When he's like, oh, there's holes in my sweater, and she's like, well, you look like everyone else, and he gets super thrown with it, and she's like, oh, make a joke about it then, say something funny about it. It will be more personal, more about you. And so, he goes and he's like already getting nervous because he's not sure if he's gonna get a good spot, and goes up, performs, and is like super frazzled. Like he starts talking about the sweater, and it just like throws him off, and then he's like, okay, so, and he does like the Abe thing, but because he's thrown off, it's like horrible, like crickets. And Imogen and her husband, they're like, oh, he's very like avant-garde. So they did that, like, wow, he's doing like a different approach to comedy where he's like not really being funny. But the woman who went up before him to perform, who just literally said Spokane the whole time. Spokane, Spokane, Spokane. Man. Like, I don't know what that was. So after, Joel is like super upset, and I was just like, come on, Joel, like everyone has a bad performance, like you don't need to be so over dramatic about this and blaming it on Midge, when she's just trying to help you. And they get home and he's like, I'm leaving because of one bad performance. He's like, I can't do this anymore. And she's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I'm never gonna be a professional comedian. And she's like, of course you're not. And he's like, what? You didn't think it was serious? It was like, no, why would she think you were serious? You're horrible. You're not good. Like, there's no way you could make a career out of this. And you find out Joel has been cheating on Midge this whole time, like the most perfect wife ever. And you've been cheating on her? Like, what is this? What? I was so mad for Midge in that moment, and she was acting pretty calm and cool and collected. I was just like, oh, no. I would have been like, flipped the table for all this woman does for him, and he leaves her after one bad performance. Like, honey, I am in the industry. You have one bad performance, you're calling it quits. You were never meant to be in the showbiz. In that scene where Joel is leaving, her acting, Rachel's acting was so good. It was so nuanced, like just the way she was reacting. I was like, man, this girl's a fantastic actress, other than being able to be funny. Her dramatic acting was great and real, and I was just like feeling for this girl. And the scene where she goes and tells her parents, I was like, man, this is gonna be so hard. And then like when Tony Shalhoub just gets up and goes to the other room, and like the screen is closed, and you just hear him breaking stuff, I was like, oh god. Her dad, he's like, I told you, don't pick a weak man. And wow, like, that was not what I was expecting from him when he said, what did I tell you? I thought I was gonna be like, don't pick a cheater, I don't know, don't pick a unsuccessful man, but don't pick a weak man. Man, that is advice I think every woman needs to take, because like, weak. You pick a weak man, it's gonna be, they're gonna give up at the first sign of trouble. So I love that, that was his advice, don't pick a weak man, though he didn't tell her, he was very subtle about the hint, too subtle for Midge to get it, and too subtle for anyone to get it. They're like, you need to go win him back, you need to like put on his favorite dress and go. And that's like so hard to hear, like, but back then that was so true, that like, because they're like, you won't be able to survive without a man. And while that's not true now, that sadly that was kind of the case back then. It's just kind of hard to hear, like, that they think, she won't be able to survive, she won't be able to be anyone without a man. So I was just like, this is a really sucky situation. Okay, and now we need to talk about the best scene of the whole show, easily the scene stealer. I was dying laughing. This was hands down one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen in a show. So, after going and talking to her parents, she gets drunk, is like wandering around New York, ends up like being back at the club because she wants her like Pyrex dish or whatever, ends up going on stage being like, so this is what ya like doing, Joel? And so she starts kind of like telling the story of what happened. Oh my god, when she got up in front of that mic, you're just like, wow, this woman is hilarious. She's not even trying, she's drunk, she's just talking about her life, and she's 100 times funnier than Joel, her husband. The whole act is great, but obviously the best part is when she's like, and who wouldn't want to come home to this? And like no one says anything, and then she's like, okay, I get it, yeah, I've been crying all night, what about my body though? And then, oh my god, the scene where my jaw dropped because I was not expecting it, and she's like, my breasts are basically amazing and they're standing up on their own. And then she flashed the whole club. I was just like, and you know, everyone at the club was like in shock too that this Upper West Side housewife just flashed a bunch of people. I was like, oh my god, so funny. I was dying laughing. I've watched that scene probably like 5-6 times. And of course Susie is there watching her get up on stage. You could see like the sparkle in her eye watching Midge up there, that she's like, wow, this girl's got something. And Susie had this absolutely great line when she was trying to, you know, convince Midge to do this, where she's like, don't you want to be more than a housewife? But where she said, I don't mind being alone, I just don't want to be insignificant. What a powerful line. Being insignificant. I think that is like my worst fear, you know, because I'm pursuing an acting career, and obviously being an insignificant actress isn't what I want to do. I want to be like admired for my work. What truth rang in that line. And their whole conversation, Susie and Midge's conversation, they played off each other so well. So when Midge finally decides, you know, okay, I guess I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna have Susie's help with being a stand-up comedian, she goes to her house, and it's like this really tiny apartment. And one of the first things out of her mouth is, I hope you don't have a very long lease, because you should move. And it's like, yeah, with people with means, yeah, but obviously this is all Susie could afford, so it's just like, of course, you know, a rich person thinking that like, oh, like, you know, no one should live like this. It's like, yeah, well, not everyone can afford to not live like that. And then I really enjoyed the ending for the pilot, though I enjoyed the ending more when I watched it the second time, because the first time I didn't catch this, so watching it the second time and catching it, it made more sense. So in her wedding toast, when they're doing like some flashbacks, it shows that Midge and Joel went to see this comedian that Joel wanted her to see, and then when she gets arrested for the public indecency, she gets arrested with him. She goes back the next day to bail him out of jail because she wants to ask him, you know, do you love it? Do you love doing stand-up comedy? And he kind of is like, gives her basically the answer is like, if I could do anything else in the world, I would. And she's like, but do you love it? And he just looks at her and gives her this look and just walks away, and she goes, yeah, he loves it. And the show just ends like that, and it's a great ending, but it leaves you wanting so much more because it's so good. Like, what a fantastic pilot, guys. And it's just like a great way to show what this show is gonna be. If the season that, you know, hopefully gets picked up for the show is anything like the pilot, it's gonna be freaking fantastic. Like, this pilot is an A+++ in my head. It's a 10 out of 10. You know, it was funny, it had great music, great acting, great storyline. Like, honestly, it has everything, and I'm so happy with it. Like, I'm so happy to see another great show from Amy, because like, I'm not really digging buttheads too much. So I love seeing this, and I really hope it gets picked up. If you love the show as much as I loved the show, please let me know. Let's talk about it. I need to talk to people about this show. And it's so great to see something refreshing. This is new, you know, it's not a rehash of the same things, and it's honestly one of the funniest shows I've ever watched. I don't think I've ever laughed so much at a TV show before. I'm in love with The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and I need to let you guys know about my love for it. So I know this video is kind of probably a little bit convoluted, me rambling a whole lot since I've never done a TV review before, and I like to talk, guys. I know I talk way too much. But hopefully, you know, if I do more TV reviews, which I would love to do, they'll get better, because, you know, I watch a whole lot of TV even though I haven't been reading that many actual books. I watch TV all the time. I want to let everyone know like how great this show is, and especially if you love Gilmore Girls, go watch it. Even if you don't love Gilmore Girls, go watch it. It's an hour. So if you don't like it, you haven't really wasted a whole lot of your time, you know, anyways. Then you just don't have to watch it if it comes out. So that is it for today's video. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Once again, my name is Jade. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye!